too long.
It is quick and to the point. Hey, everybody. Look, I am getting an error message right now that says continue without get noticed with video, or I'm going to go ahead and click through it and we'll just continue to record because I think we'll be okay, but I'll double check it in a second. I'm Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss TV. We do our weekly show talking about how you can leverage live stream video in order to be able to serve more people, stand out online, and sell more of your services. So we tend to focus on women coaches, but we have a lot of and a big diversity of people who tend to watch the show. And I'm super excited tonight to bring to you another special guest, an incredible woman by the name of Toi Sweeney. I cannot wait for you to meet her. I see a couple of folks that are already logging in and saying hello. So hello back. Thank you so much, Scott, for showing up tonight. Hopefully everybody can see me well because I've gotten a couple of error messages. But look, if you can't, we're just going to go on with the show because it's being recorded and I'll make sure to replay it afterwards. If you've been here before, you know the drill. And so the drill is that you're going to type in hashtag OG because you're an OG watcher and viewer of this show. If this is your very first time, I want you to type in hashtag newbie. And in just a second, I'm going to switch it over and we're going to meet our special guest because I know we're going to have a very robust conversation and I don't want to take up or waste any more time without her on the screen. So what I'm going to do is slip over into our intro video really quickly, and then we're going to come back and you'll get to meet my amazing friend, Toi Sweeney. All right, I'll see you in just a second. All right, Miss Toi Sweeney in the house. It is so wonderful to have you here on the show. Look, I felt like, you know what? I can't just wear a t-shirt. I need to like dress it up a little bit.
I was expecting you to have a t-shirt on. I was
I
very
know.
disappointed.
Don't be disappointed. I have the t-shirt and I even was like, let me find some red lipstick. But then you did not wear the red lipstick.
No, I've been the hot week, so we just had to do our best.
You
Doing
know
my
what?
best tonight, Tanya.
Your best is like,
Tanya.
look, you can be doing nothing and you still are better than most.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
John
I was
said,
like,
we
yeah, we're
know the
just gonna
drill.
do our best.
He said, we know the drill about the OG. Okay, awesome sauce. So it looks like we're looking good on YouTube at least. If anybody's on Facebook, give me a thumbs up or let me know that you're here because I'm having a little bit of trouble connecting with your comments. So what I may do is pull you up on a different screen to ensure that we can see you and say hello. So, Toi, I could read your bio, and I am going to talk about your bio a little bit because it is incredible. Like it is robust. It is action packed. You got all the things going on in this bio. So I do need to talk a little bit about that. So Toi is an award-winning fashion stylist, brand image strategist, speaker, entrepreneur, certified Fascination Advantage coach, and author of Secrets of a Well-Dressed Brand, which I'm waiting on my copy. I need the copy of the book. She's
Yes,
been
ma'am.
featured on Forbes.com, BBCNews.com, and has appeared as a guest on over a dozen podcasts. She combines her fashion expertise with her Fascination Advantage training to help individual and corporate clients craft a branded personal style that clearly communicates their personality and highest value. And I'm going to tell you, Toi, as I was going through your website and your portfolio, I was sitting there in awe, like my mouth was open, like, wow, look at the
Oh,
transformations.
Some of them are very interesting.
Like I need her.
You already look that sharp. You don't need me.
So tell us something that is not in your bio. What's going on? What about you do we need to know?
Well, I'm also a TEDx speaker. There's a TEDx out there that's where I'm talking about story and how stories are, we all have a story, right? We're in this age of people are just like, you have to tell your story, you have to tell your story. And so, like with most things, I have a little bit of a different take on stories. So there's a TEDx that I did that's on there, and I'm also the host of the Well Dressed Brand TV show that airs on Fridays at 2 p.m. and it's on Roku, and I stream live just like this. So we are sisters in that way as well.
I love it. I
Um,
was going to ask you about that show, ma'am. Yes. So repeat again when it airs. When do you air?
so we are on Fridays, usually around 2 p.m., sometimes 3 p.m., depends on my guests and where they live. Try to be consistent, but I can't always be. But typically it's Fridays at 2 p.m. We are launching something funny and fresh and new. Not really funny, but fun this month. Where I started in the beginning of the year doing something called the Color of the Month. And so we can talk more about that later, but each month taking a deeper dive into color, and we have been learning so much and having so much fun about all the different colors and all the different things. So I'm really excited about that. That's a really fun aspect of the show.
I'm very excited about that too because I think you shared with me when it was Pink Month.
Yes, that was January, the color pink, and we learned so many things about pink. We learned that it's the oldest color from a gemology perspective in the world. I didn't know that. And so we just go into all the different things that if pink is your favorite color, it means it says this about you, and all of it going back to that, that brand strategy, that image perspective of personal branding and why what you wear matters. And so that's pretty much it. Like I talk about why what you wear matters, how do we use your wardrobe as a business strategy. Those are all the things that I've done, and I've built that career. I started by working at in various retailers from Bloomingdale's in New York to with Crabtree and Evelyn, White House Black Market. I did the executive training program at Bloomingdale's. I left there and I worked at the world's largest home shopping network at QVC for nearly 2 decades. I started in the buying office, and when I left 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, and became the CEO and founder of the Well Dressed brand, I was in a style director position there where I supported and dressed all 30 program hosts directly to me, and I was in charge of their brand image. I rolled out style directions, and for every single guest that came through the door, they had to talk to me before they went on air so that I can make sure that they were representing their brand as well as QVC to the best of and highest way possible.
And how did you decide that this was going to be your thing? Like, and this is fun. So John just asked. So every month has a different color.
Yep, every month there's a
Every
different
month.
color.
I love
So
it.
we're only in February, so we've done pink, and this month's color is blue. And I only go live. I go live once on the show, and then on every week I do a live just on Instagram to give you an update where we talk about a different hue within that color.
Oh wow. Yeah, I need to pay more attention because I'm the girl who was always wearing black because I
Me
wasn't
too.
sure like what color should I wear, what looks good on. Plus, I didn't want to be noticed. So speaking of that, I really did not. I
Yes.
wanted to just kind of like be behind the scenes, which is why
Yes.
video is really kind of interesting that I even chose video to do because I've
Yes.
always been that person that wanted to just kind of stay behind the scenes and do my genius back there behind the
Hmm.
slides. What made you know that you needed to be in front, that you needed to be someone who was going to help others to really represent the best of themselves? How did you know that that was your gift?
That's a really great question, and actually, I've never been asked this question this way. So thank you for that. So I think that with today, the whole thing about fashion styling and image consulting, um, it has turned into an in front job, just with technology and, the internet, smartphones, all those things, right? But when you look through history, it was very much a behind the scenes kind of job. When you think about Edith Piaf, like, no, that not Edith Piaf. That's a French singer. That's not what I went to say. Edith Head. I got all these women's names in my head. When you think about costume designers like Edith Head, was just kind of blowing up Hollywood. She's probably the most known. There's an African American woman as well. But Edith is, most people can relate to the silver screen, but she was always behind the scenes, is my point. And so that's where, if someone owned a boutique, they were still behind the scenes. Your tailor, all of these jobs are really behind the scenes. And so I really started my career for the first few decades really behind the scene. And as I started working at QVC, I'm very much an extrovert. I'm very much chatty. I'm very much sociable. I
What?
love
No,
to
I'm just kidding.
laugh and live out loud. Can you imagine, Tanya?
Wait, on that point, I just have to
So
interrupt for a
shy.
second. The
No,
first time I
please.
saw you, I met you on JP High Tech's conference, and you had
Yes.
a big, like red, fluffy something.
Yeah. My fur coat. I was it's really wool. It's not fur. It's this big wool coat. I toned it down for you tonight. I didn't want you to think that I
No,
was
I'm
gonna come
saying
over
that
come
to
on your show.
emphasize your extroversion, that I would not be surprised at all that you are an extrovert. I love that
Yeah.
about you. That is like you
No.
are bold. You do live out loud.
I absolutely do, and it's funny. So, so I started my career kind of behind the scene, and then because working around live television, for so many decades, and so many different personalities, so many celebrities walking in and out of those doors, you just start to pick up some things. But I was never a shy kid. I was never afraid to be on camera, never afraid to get my picture taken. If you would have asked me at 8, 9 years old what I was going to be, I was moving to New York. I was going to be a dancer. I was going to be a model. I was going to be doing all of these things on somebody's stage. I did not know that I was only going to grow to be 5'3". Um,
And that most models are
so
not 5'3". Huh?
that no, they're petite ones, but they don't typically tend to make it as large as Naomi. Um, and
Yeah.
so, but I've always loved fashion. My mom was, the love of my life in that way. Like, she was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen when I was growing up. I just would, was just so proud that she was my mom. I thought she was so gorgeous. She had such an exceptional sense of style. And I just wanted to be like her and dress like her. And so, I'm very, very grateful because I get to get up every day and do what I love. My degrees are in fashion marketing and fashion design. And so I've never done much outside of those two things. Every single thing I've done has been in some way related to fashion, marketing, or sales, or all three at once. And so, my mom had me on stages modeling when I was 5 years old, 6 years old, getting the oh, so cute, the applause, and all of those things. But I'm perfectly fine being behind the camera too, because I know how to do that. I'm comfortable there as well. And so that was kind of how I knew. I've never not known that this is what I was supposed to do.
Mm.
And I'm just grateful that the Lord has given me the opportunity to get up every day and just really do what I love, And so that's really the answer. Like, I don't, I've always wanted to do it and I'm doing it.
I love it. Look, you're living out loud, you're living boldly. Let me do a really quick check in with folks because I can tell that there are people that are actually commenting in Facebook. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on Facebook right now, we cannot see your comments. I did try to switch over to the page, but it's a little difficult to juggle that. So, come on over to YouTube. If you'll come over to YouTube at Tanya Smith then you can find us there and join in on the conversation and engagement. John put, as much as I like green, I can't wear it because of my chroma key. Yeah, you'll disappear. That's what
Oh,
will happen,
yeah.
John. I love it.
Unless you want to be the invisible man.
Yeah, just a talking head, like for real.
I love it.
For real, for
Yeah.
real. So, when you actually made this move into writing a book, let's talk about TEDx first.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that come about? Because, that's like everybody's dream.
Oh man.
How did that happen?
I don't even remember how, like most of us, right? I was just kind of like, okay, I'm going through the list, right? You have the list of like all of your mentors, your friends are like, here are the things that you need to have happen. And so I was like, okay, next on the list is the TEDx. So at that time I was living in Philadelphia, and I was checking the TEDx website every so often. And right during the pandemic, they were in Philadelphia doing a they had a series that I submitted for, that was they wanted it to be fashion and mental health, or no, it was like art and mental health. And I was like, oh, I got this. I can talk about, I have studies in my book that I'm using to talk about how what you wear impacts your mental health, that fashion is art. I'm going to do it. So I stayed up late. I submitted everything. I waited for a couple of weeks and I didn't hear anything. And in the meantime, my husband got a job that required that we move to Texas. And so we had sold our house. My husband was already living in Texas. I was in our old house in Philadelphia. I was on my hands and knees scrubbing paint off the floor. And from across the room, I heard ding, and I was like, that that was what was
Did the
that? It was
phone
like a
just
different,
ring?
it was like not a text message. It was, I don't know. I was like, what? And I don't ever get message. My phone's always on silent. For whatever reason, this day, it wasn't. So I was like, huh. I ran over, and it was TEDx Philadelphia. We got your to come in and do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So then the next day, I get another email that said, due to lockdown, they wanted to change what they were talking about, because when I submitted it, it wasn't quite the pandemic yet. But because of the pandemic, um, they wanted me to change it up a little bit. Well, I was leaving Pennsylvania in about 48 hours, and I had things going on up until, so I had until like midnight the next day. And I remember cleaning the house all day, because again, we're trying to sell it, and it was like 11:49, and I was resubmitting this TEDx, but I was not in the comfort of my own home. I was not in whatever, and I they did not invite me back once I resubmitted. So as you can imagine, I was devastated.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you have got to be kidding me. So I was like, I've lost my chance. So we moved to Texas. We live in Houston. We're there. I meet a woman. I was on another podcast the same way I met you, being on JP's. I meet this woman named Eliza Van Court, who lives in upstate New York. Coincidentally, that's where I live right now. And so we got to meet in person, this whole thing. So I'm talking to her, and I'm like, on my list is I want to do a TEDx. And she's like, you do? Okay, well, let's find you one. And so she starts looking in Texas. She finds one at Dallas College, and she was like, hey, they want to talk about this. Do you have a different take on anything that works with this theme? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I have a different take on story. Like, I'm so sick of people talking about it this way. My idea is this. And that was it. I just submitted, and within a couple of weeks, I got an email that I had to audition. I was like, you have to audition for a TEDx? I had no idea,
Me either.
you know? And I was like, so I'm like, I have to audition. So, oh my gosh, I was preparing weeks, just reading. Well, I only had a couple of days, because they were like, we want you to audition. Like, you're still not chosen. We need you to audition. And the audition was like in a couple of days. So I'm like, okay, practice. So I get it, and it was a video, like a Zoom audition, because we were still in the midst of, the
Hmm.
pandemic. And so I do the audition. I go through my whole thing, and I was like, it was so quiet. It was so quiet. I was like, there's no way that I got this. And they just one by one, it was probably like 5 or 6 of them, one by one gave me their feedback, like live feedback.
Ooh.
And I was like, Lord have mercy. I'm so grateful that that I can take it. So because I was like,
I
this is
don't
gonna be
want to cry up
horrible.
here.
And I was like, I'm not made for this. But it was incredible. It was such an incredible experience. I mean, though I've never had words spoken to me like that. I've never had strangers just pouring into me. Um, because I just shared a very personal part of my life with them. And I had never shared it publicly in that way, like outside of like giving my testimony in church or something. And so I was just like, I don't know how this is going to be, taken. And they could not have been any more lovely, any more gracious. And so, yeah. So, they let me know, I think that day that I was in, and they were
Oh,
like,
wow.
the next step is that, um, you know, make sure that you come on this date in the studio. Here is the information. We will see you, in 2 weeks. And that was it. And then I went and did it again.
That's crazy. And it's
Yeah.
awesome because it came together and you did not give up, even though the first time didn't work out through some
Yeah.
fluks. It worked out because it was meant for you.
Yeah.
And I love that. And you had written a book before TEDx.
So so when I launched my company 5 years ago, almost 6 years, 5 years ago, I wrote Secrets of a Well Dressed Brand. But me thinking that I was doing something really cool, it was only available on iTunes because the year, I think that it was something about at that time when I was thinking about like, actually my friend Stephanie Humphrey gave me this idea, and she's like, you should just do it just on, just an ebook. But of course I didn't want to do like a regular ebook, right? So this was an interactive ebook. And so it was one, if not, it was really, I don't know now if they exist, but when I created my interactive ebook, it only existed in children's books. So you would go onto Apple and then you would read, and then there was a video, then you read, and there was a video, then there was a quick, like it was just
Ooh,
very interactive. And the whole point was like it took you 3 hours to get through the whole thing, so you could read my book super fast. It was created by a high performer for high performers. And so I decided through a lot of pulling of the teeth from my friend Meg Delarange to relaunch it last July in a beautifully new design hardcover. So that's what this is. And so this is the 5th year anniversary. So we just updated it, added a gorgeous, like it's so beautiful. I love it. I'm so in
I
love
love
with
it
it.
too.
Thank you. And I'm so proud of it. Like it's just beautifully done. We did a really good job with it, and just, added some new things in there. And then the week it was released, it hit Amazon bestseller. And
Thank you,
so
John. By the way,
we're
John just put your TEDx up. Let me pop it back
oh,
up
thank
on.
you, John. That
That's
was very kind.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that was the book.
The book is lovely.
Thank you.
And I am just, goodness, I'm just in awe of all the things that have come together. The other thing I know about you that you've launched is a Roku TV show. Or has it
Yeah.
launched officially? It's coming?
Oh yeah, it
Okay.
launched 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Kind of the beginning of the year, basically. In
Okay.
January it launched. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so your Roku TV channel, can people find that as well at
Yeah, they can go right on to Roku and just, if you have a Roku, just download my app. Just go to Toy Sweeney on your Roku, and it'll bring up my application, and then you hit download, and then you can see all of the videos that are on there. Please forgive me, I'm so behind with uploading the ones from that we've done like now.
yeah, yeah.
But my show's been going on for a couple of years, so I put the top 5 ones on there. And so I have an interview with Tabitha Brown on there. I'm talking to a therapist about, the different triggers and traumas and how that impacts your brand. There's just so many exceptional shows on there. So it's a lot of fun. We go in pretty deep.
I want to go and watch the one with you and Tabitha Brown because she is an amazing person. And I'm sure that that was probably a really good conversation that you had.
Yeah, it was a few years ago. And
It
you can
was
only
before
tell that
she blew
because,
up, right?
yes, they fully explode, like when they will still take my phone calls. And so so she happened, I mean, she was a huge influencer, and she had earned the right to say no. Um and so, but Tabitha is who she is through and through. She's a real deal. And so she said yes. And she was one of the few people that actually shared it. And, it blessed me because then I picked up a bunch of followers, and things like that. And so she's just the real deal. She's the real deal. And, from a branding perspective, it's still giving me clout, and, not clout that I'm recognizing as clout, but I'm just surprised at how many people have come, DM me or text me and was like, "Oh, I'm watching your show. I love it." And they're like, "Wait a minute. You interviewed Tabitha Brown?"
I know, like, wow.
I was like, "I did."
What's up,
I was like,
Dr. Elo in the house? We've got people just saying hello and checking in. And unfortunately, we're not broadcasting on Facebook, but our YouTube folks are definitely in the house. Cheryl Brooks, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for greeting. And Dr. Elo again says, hi, Toi Sweeney.
"Oh, hello. I
I
love it."
know. I love it too. I love it. Okay, so look, here's I'm gonna bring this to a place. I'm gonna be really raw.
Get it. Let's go. I'm ready.
So look, I'm gonna share this just a little context, but then I want us to talk about how it's so important to protect your brand because this is your specialty. This is who you are and what you're gifted at talking about and doing and teaching others to be powerful in owning their brand. So when I originally sent out the invitation to everyone a couple of days ago, I used a certain term. I used fashion stylist,
Hmm.
which I was like, oh, I'm pulling that from the bio, so that's cool. So I used fashion stylist in the title of the thumbnail as well as in maybe like a quick title for the description of the show, right? Toy reached out and not in a malicious way, but she reached out and she said, hey, I wanted to reach out to you and share that sometimes people misperceive what a fashion stylist is, and that's really not the term that I start with. Like, that's not how I lead in with my brand. I'm a, and it's a brand image strategist.
Right. That's really what I'm doing. Mhm.
Brand image strategist. And she even went as far as to share a couple of pointers as to I want to make sure that people are clear on this, and this about who I am and what I'm able to do, the solutions I provide. I'm kind of like, fixing it up a little bit, but that's the gist of what I got from the message,
Yeah,
Toy.
no, that was it.
And I'm going to tell y'all something. I really appreciated that she sent this. And I went in the next morning. Mind you, it was 3 o'clock in the morning because that's
Tanya.
when I wake up because I got stuff to do. So it's
Right.
3 o'clock in the
I
morning.
get up at 4, so I can't
Look,
complain. Yeah.
okay. So we're here. And I sent her a note and I said, oh, let me go ahead and fix that. I'm going to make that correction, which is easy to do if you're using a streaming platform. So I'm using Ecamm and I was able to go in and update the thumbnail and the title, and then it updated in all the places, which was great. But the reason why I'm sharing that with you all is because I think a lot of times, especially we as women, tend to be quiet. We tend to not speak up and be empowered about who we are and what we want to represent ourselves as. Just because we're a guest on somebody else's show doesn't mean we need to shrink back and not be who we are. It's like when I go on someone else's show and they keep repeatedly calling me Tanya.
Yes, which I did. I apologize.
You're fine.
Several times today.
Look, but we've, but you know what? It's not out of disrespect. It's simply out of, hey, let me just clarify this is who I am. And that's what I appreciated, Toy. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to add to that or share about that? Because I know a lot of us do tend to shrink back and not say anything. And I just really wanted to kind of share that story.
Well, I think that, everything that we do carries weight, right? Rather we are a stay-at-home mom, rather you're a stay-at-home dad, rather you are running a company, rather you're in the tech space. And so you have to not only present your personal brand, but you have to also protect that space, because what we do is a commodity, right? I'm not the only person that has a show. You're not the only person that has a show. When we look at the things that we do every day, what we do is a commodity, but who we are not. And so I don't typically use that strategy. So when I was starting my company and coming from a world where I was a fashion stylist and I was, doing style direction and all of those things, right? One of the shifts that was happening in the world is places like J. Crew, Madewell, they're all kind of under the same umbrella. But the point is that retail, and they stopped using the term sales associate and they started calling them fashion stylist. And so, what's the difference between me and someone that works at J. Crew? 30 years of experience, a Telly Award, a book that's been written,
Yep.
the connections, like all the things, right? But you can't get that from that title, because what is a fashion stylist? It's somebody that puts outfits together. So, is that something that I do for my C suite clients? Sure. But before that happens, right, they lean into my coaching program, which is all about how the world sees you, the Fascination Advantage. What makes you different? Right? Different is better than better, as Sally Hogshead says. So we lean into what makes you different. And then they take my style test that I created, that's copywritten, trademark, mine. Merge them together. I create a complete lookbook for them that gives them brand specific colors based on what you want to say to the world, how you move through the world. Every color represents something that shows where we're going and where we currently are. So there's a strategy behind it. And so then when you reduce all of this work down to just fashion stylists, that's not going to work, because again, that's a very generic term. And so really what I'm doing is I'm teaching you how to use your wardrobe as a business strategy. And
Love
so
that.
when we're looking at our closets and it's a brand right closet, and then we compare that to our to your calendar with who you're meeting with, what products are you launching, and then you're dressing accordingly. That's not the same as just putting outfits together.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have, when I'm my point is that when you're running a branding company that's specific to image with a lot of strategy behind it, then I have to take my own medicine and be afraid of mediocrity. And so I can't allow that term to go out just in that way, because again, there's no difference
That's right.
between me and the girl that works at J. Crew. And so I don't typically use that without the words award winning in front of it, because not everyone can say that, they've won an award. And I've won a Telly Award, which is
Yes.
like, a Telly Award is kind of almost like an Emmy for broadcasting television. And so that's a big deal. It was a
That's
big deal to
huge.
me, when I received it. And so that's why I was like, hey Tanya, if you don't mind, can we, if you need to leave it because it's out there now, then that's one thing. But maybe as we're discussing and introducing me, we can correct it live.
Yeah, it was totally gracious. And here's what I love about everything you just said. And there have been several comments that I've been kind of scrolling through. So we have to go back and visit some of those. But one of the things that I absolutely love, Toy, about you, you talked about living out loud, right? You talked about living boldly and being who you are. And even as an extrovert, even as an introvert, I should never allow myself to shrink back and not be boldly who I am, because your brand is everything.
Hmm.
And so, three things that I picked up on what you just said that I want other people to pick up on too. One is you're absolutely 100% clear about who you are and what you
Hmm.
do. Did you hear how eloquently she explained This is the behind the scenes. These two, as you were explaining this, were not afraid to talk about your accomplishments and your achievements, the things that you've been able to do beyond the norm. You're not mediocre by any means. And then three, you spoke up and shared exactly, yes, brand is everything. So he spoke fashion. Yes, my brand is everything. Your brand is everything. And if you don't hear anything else of what Toy is saying, I really want you to pick up on that. It is everything. And look, JP High Tech says,
Hey,
Toy,
JP.
that black leather coat is everything. Yes, it is.
Thank you, JP.
It is everything. Look, okay, and thank you, John, once again, because there was a question earlier from Cheryl Brooks about how to actually watch your videos if you're not on Roku. So he just shared with us. Is that the correct one? Toy
That
Sweeney
doesn't
two
look
seven
right.
four.
I'm like, I don't know about that 274.
Yeah, let's
It
double
should
check
just
that.
be. You can also watch it on. I'm trying to think. Oh well, you can catch it live. They should be on YouTube. I don't know if about the 274.
Okay,
It should
we
just be
will.
toysweeney.com. It should just be Toy Sweeney.
Okay, I'm gonna try to pull it real quick so we can make sure we have it up here for you, and then I'll type it in. So meanwhile, as we talked about, yeah, I think no, this channel does not have any content. That's not you.
It's like,
that
mm-mm.
I think he got
They,
the right one. Maybe he got the right one. Hold on. Like I'm not gonna send people there because that's not you.
I'm like, I don't know.
Yep,
It
the
look they had it spelled like mine though. That was weird.
274 is you.
Okay, is that me?
Yep, that's you.
Okay. Thank you. Because
Because
I'm like, I don't know.
blue is the color of the month, is what
Yes,
I'm
it is.
seeing. Okay.
Perfect.
So
Yes.
how are you choosing these colors of the month, by the way? Like, what is the strategy there?
Oh, so many people have asked me that. I love that. So it wasn't anything that was mind blowing. I just wanted to have something to anchor, and something I wanted people to be able to start seeing the colors in the store. So most of the stores, not all of them, are using Pantone. And the way that color works is that it doesn't really change that much from season to season. If you look at the Pantone from spring versus the Pantone for fall, the hues may change a little bit. It might get brighter or darker or whatever, but the colors themselves don't change. So I just looked at, I was, last year, end of last year when we were launching this, I was like, okay, what's Pantone talking about? And the color of the year was not even announced. So hats
Ah.
off, because I don't know how I just pulled that out of my butt. But the color of the year did not exist yet. It wasn't like public knowledge. I just was like, okay, what colors are going to be for just, we're going into spring for spring 2023. And I looked at the list and I was like, oh, this they're normal. It's like normal colors. It wasn't anything crazy. So I was like, perfect. So I just like picked one. I said, you know what? I'm going to start with pink for January, because everybody's going to be wearing their pink in February, and again, we don't thrive to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
So we're going to do it in January, and then if you choose to wear it in February, you can, and you already have it. And then you're going into February knowing all the things about the color pink and how it's the color of unconditional love. And then we chose blue for this month, and then we're just going to keep going and going and going. We are having so much fun.
I'm going to be following for sure. Is YouTube where you want people to follow, or would you prefer them to follow you on Facebook or Instagram, or what's your preference?
You can follow me anywhere that you want, but I will tell you this. If you are interested in the color of the month, it would be my pleasure for you to get the entire experience. So the way that you get the entire experience is that you need to go on to toysweeney.com and then sign up for the newsletter, because then you get into your inbox all the things about announcing, like, hey, here's the color of the month. You get it the first of every month, and then later that day, I go live, and then I give you a deeper dive on that color, and I try to tell you things that are not in the newsletter, so you're getting different information. And then also in the newsletter, I highlight a different entrepreneur every month. I also have an Amazon shop with like all the things that I'm loving that I found in that color. There's like fashion shows in there's every month it's a little bit different. um but yeah, and so you get that experience, and then I like I said, I go live and I tell you about the color. And then if you're following me on Instagram only, I then go live every week to give you an update on a different color, on like a different story about the color. So if you, yeah, so if you look at my Instagram, this, it's all blue. We
Oh,
talked
I'm
about
loving that.
the melanated people with the blue eyes. We talk about Serena's thing. We talked about Cardi, like all the things. And then this was last month where everything was pink. And each week I talked about something different. I highlighted Tabitha's popcorn. And if you send me your picture and you're wearing the color, then I will post it. Yeah.
I am
And
loving that.
so it's really, really been interactive and fun. I can't believe how people are getting into this. It warms my heart. It makes me so prideful, in a good way, not in a bad kind of way. It makes me proud
Look, I
and
need to,
happy.
I'm going to pay attention because JP is, I have to go meet him in March. He said, I look very relaxed today.
Yay!
You
She's
know,
always relaxed.
he will tell you the truth. So I cannot go like looking shabby. I need to make sure that I'm set up and ready for the shoot.
Yes, because JP will come for you in the kindest way possible.
It's true.
He will come for you. JP is the male version of me. And we first met, he's my best friend, and I said, I just got Toy Sweeney. And he was just like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, he pulled out the machete. It was wrapped in velvet, but he pulled it out.
Oh, he will
He
pull it out.
told
He
me
will tell
about
you.
myself. He told me about myself.
He will
And I
tell you
loved
about
every
yourself.
moment of it.
I do too.
I
I
found
do.
myself. I loved every moment of it.
He said, wait, he said, I do it with love. Yeah,
Of course you do.
it's true. We do know this. We know
We do
this.
know this. It's coming from a good place.
And look, so John is saying, I don't look. Elo is saying, Chillin' Smith, hashtag chillin'. Me, y'all are tripping today. John said, Tanya never looks. John, you're my
She
favorite.
never looks shabby.
You're my
But
favorite always.
I have never seen. I've scrolled through all the things. You always look on point. You always look perfect. You just do. Yeah, I love your haircut. I can go on. Your haircut
Thank
is
you.
everything. Like, you always look good. You're
Thank you.
beautiful. So
Thank you. Thank you.
what
Thank
are you
you.
gonna do?
So, okay. I have a Black History Month question that I need to ask, and I forgot to
Uh
warn you
oh.
about this.
Yeah. Like, uh oh.
Look, I was supposed to give you this beforehand,
You know
but
I went to fashion school, right?
just. So
I am
my
Black History. Let's go.
I'm gonna and I was gonna do a card deck, but the card deck can get a little crazy. so I'm gonna
Oh
pass on
boy.
the card deck today.
Uh oh.
Thank you for the short haircut. Oh,
I know.
y'all are so sweet.
She
Thank
is
you.
beautiful. She's stunning.
Look, I need to try to keep up with my guests because Toy's over here looking like fire all the
I'm just
time.
laid back today. I didn't bring out any crazy outfits
It's so effortless. It's effortless.
because
Wait, fire
I was
explosion.
pulling in I was pulling in my sleek Tanya energy today. I am a guest in your house. It's not about me.
You're welcome back to my house anytime, ma'am.
Thank
Anytime. Okay, look, Black History Month, and I'm not gonna pull the card deck out because, like I said, it can go right or left, and I don't want to go
Oh
there.
boy.
So I'm just gonna keep
Okay.
it simple, and I'm gonna ask. And thank you so much. And look, he spoke fashion, said, "Toy, you are amazing too." So know that.
Well, thank you, sir. I'll take it.
Hey,
You don't even
look,
know.
we got to put the compliments up here. Toy is
For the sake of being done. It was all very strategic. And I was just so in awe of the simplicity of the strategy that went behind that. And I was like, yes, That is what I'm trying to tell people. She is a well dressed brand because it was a strategy. So when you're looking in your closet tomorrow trying to find something to wear, you need to have a brand right closet. You need to have clothes that color palette. I'll get off my soapbox.
Woo! So,
Thank you for asking that question. I've been dying to get that off my chest.
it seems like that was something that she was holding in, y'all. I don't know if you felt, if you kind of like
What?
got that from our
No one asked
conversation.
me.
Like there was a release there, like, huh.
Yes. Woo! I love you. I love you for asking that question, young lady. Thank you.
Look, so we have to pass it on to Stacy Moore because Stacy sent me a messenger message. I think it might have been last night, maybe even the night
Stacy,
before. She was asking me to talk about it. And I said, you know what? I actually have a brand image strategist coming on my show. She said, well,
Stacy,
tell her
I
I
love
want
you.
her to answer this.
Stacy, I love you so much because I was all week like, how am I going to fit this in with everything that I'm doing? When am I going to have time to just go live and talk about this?
Well, look, I'm going to make sure you have the ISO recording. Like you're going to have the replay of all that passion that I get you that so you can use it.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant. I
Oh,
digress.
well, that was my Black History. Look, so that turned out really nicely for the Black History Month question that I
It
did not
did.
give you in advance because she did
I
make
knew the,
history.
yeah,
She made
in all the
history.
ways.
Yeah,
In all the ways.
that was awesome. Okay, so I see a note. Let me see from Cheryl. Is this a question? I do interviews and chats primarily or previously small business owners, more recently authors. Okay. All right, Cheryl, thank you for sharing your background and what you're doing. I'm looking to see if there are any questions. I think we answered the questions as we went, so we may be in good shape, which is great. Awesome. So I need to let you tell the people how to get a hold of you, ma'am. So I'm going to pull up your, well, this is your Instagram, but then
Yes.
we also need to let people know to go to your main site at toysweeney.com.
Yep. You can get everything from there. You can do all the things. I hope that you guys will sign up for the email list. There's one of my clients.
Look, this is what I was scrolling through, and I was like, wow.
Oh, I know. The before and after. She looks 20 years younger.
Oh my goodness, she's beautiful. I love it. But I was just sitting here scrolling, like, ooh.
Oh, I forgot. I had a spread in Where Women's Work magazine. I forgot about that. That was
Look at that.
fun.
We do forget, don't we? Because there's so many
Yeah.
things, so many different accomplishments. But I'm loving, loving, loving everything that you're doing.
Kimberly Bryant. I love her. She's amazing.
So you did a styled photo shoot for TEDx San Francisco?
Yeah, so Kimberly Bryant was the founder of Black Girls Code, and her that's her daughter that we're running the company for up until recently. She has been my client for since I started. I met her at a Forbes conference 6 years ago, 5 years ago. And I sat next to her. She sat next to me by accident. But Jesus knew. And yeah, she
Mm-hmm.
became my client, and she's been my client for the last 5 6 years, and so that was what we styled her in for Good Morning America,
Love
and then
it.
we did that custom red suit for TEDx. I
The
styled
red
her.
is hidden. Look, I'm gonna have to do more red now that I'm learning.
Well, Rihanna's gonna have everybody in red,
Yeah,
and
seriously.
Stephanie.
Oh, there's so much. There's so much here. So definitely go and take a look at her site. Get signed up for the newsletter so you can keep up to date with the different color schemes. And Cheryl says, "Thank you so much, Cheryl. I just signed up for your newsletter.
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it.
Thank you." And for those of you who are watching the replay, definitely make sure you go to toysweeney.com. You can scroll through just like I'm doing. Look, this to me is better than scrolling through TikTok.
Oh, that's so funny. These are all the QVC show hosts that I styled while I was there.
Very nice. I love it. I love. Don't be surprised if I call. Hey, Toy.
I got you.
Look,
I got
help.
you.
I need
Because
help for
JP
this
is
shoot.
tough. He'll tell you.
Oh, look, he already told me. He told me a couple of things that he wants me to specifically have. I'm just
Oh.
calling him out right now. He's like,
Oh,
yeah, so I need you to have this type of hat. JP, I don't wear those hats. I wear baseball. No, I need you to go get this. He's like, okay. Thank you,
JP, she's got to
John.
run that by me first.
Pretty much. Pretty much. He has
Thank you,
given me an
John.
entire shopping list to go and find. So I'm on it right now.
I love it.
Goodness.
I love it.
Toy, thank you so much for spending time with me. I didn't mean to keep you this long, but I just love the energy. I love everything that you shared. I mean, there were just knowledge nuggets throughout this entire conversation. I love the question about Rihanna because you
Got me
just lit
going.
up. It was just like, ah, it was, it was
I was in my
awesome.
zone. I don't even know where I was. I came back. I came back.
She
Thank you
was
for
outside
having
of
me.
herself speaking.
I was completely,
So thank you. Thank you
completely.
for sharing that because I think it was really insightful just into the level of knowledge and study that you've done into colors and what they mean, amongst other things. But I picked up on that in your
Thank
passion.
you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Well, okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. So I'm going to let my friend Toy go so that she can get a little rest. And meanwhile, I'm going to close us out. Remind you to go to toysweeney.com. We shared the website with you on the last screen, but if you need it again, just rewind the video a little bit and you'll see it. I'll also make sure that it's in the description for our video here. Thank you so very much for being with us this evening. I apologize for some of the issues that we had with Facebook. Not sure what happened there, but you can definitely watch and catch the entire video on YouTube, possibly on LinkedIn. I'll have to check after this. But either way, we just thank you so much for watching. Whether you're watching the replay or were with us live, we appreciate you being here and supporting. Make sure you come back and hang out with me each and every week on Thursdays. We are typically here on every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, sometimes with a guest, sometimes without. I think at this point we're going to be adding a second day of live streaming, but we're going to be working on that and we'll communicate if you're on our email list over at getnoticedwithvideo.com. All right, folks, take care, and we will see you on next week in the stream.